Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to introduce to you a woman whose presence embodies the virtues of generosity, groundedness, balance, and thoughtfulness. Allow me to introduce Angela Shelby. Angela's life journey, replete with its highs and lows, has served as a crucible for numerous epiphanies and the cultivation of her profound passion for guiding others along their paths to healing. Since 2018, Angela has been a certified quantum touch energy practitioner, harnessing the transformative power of energy to facilitate healing and restoration in others. Beyond her expertise in energy work, Angela serves as a conduit for spiritual guidance, communing with spirit guides and angels, and offering insights through the interpretation of dreams. Operating from her home office in Buckeye, Arizona, Angela's reach extends far beyond geographical boundaries as she extends her services to clients across the nation. Angela's altruism shines brightly through her commitment to volunteerism, dedicating her healing talents to the Cave Creek Spiritual Center in Cave Creek, Arizona, where she offers her services on the first Sunday of each month. Those fortunate enough to encounter Angela often remark on the palpable sense of tranquility and harmony that emanates from her being, a testament to the depth of peace she harbors within her heart. My conversation with Angela was truly enriching, and I trust that you will find our discussion equally enlightening. And now, please enjoy. Hello, dear Angela. I am thrilled to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for your time. And hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of the True Love Magic series. Yay! So, I met Angela a few months back, and I just love this woman from the very beginning. Why? Number one, she is a Capricorn. And throughout my life, my best friends have been Capricorn. So, like, I knew from the start that I was going to connect in a beautiful way with beautiful Angela. So, Angela, welcome.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here today.
Yay. So, okay. So, I'm going to start with the question that I start with. What is true love for you?
True love for me is being able to be completely myself and completely free in whatever I am doing.
Okay. So, it is your true self, being
Yeah,
yourself. That is true love, self love. And what about romantic love? How do you define it?
I define true good romantic love as me being able to be totally myself and totally free with whomever I am with in that moment.
I love that answer. And it reminds me to what Abraham Hicks says. There's nothing more important for me than to feel good.
Yes.
And if you feel good, that is true love, right? It's self
Yes.
love. And once that we love ourselves, that's the only way that we can share more love, give love to others. So thank you for that beautiful answer.
Hmm.
Can you please share with us how did your awakening or your journey your journey soul journey started? Like, What happened? What was it triggered? You have shared with me that it was since you were very little that you started having, um, I wouldn't say, well, let's say magical experiences. And so please share with us.
Yeah, so I grew up Catholic, and so I was always taught that God was there, and I always had an awareness of God, and I would tune into I knew my guardian angels were there off and on throughout my life. I remember sitting on my barn roof when I was about to go into high school. It was the summer before. And every night I would go out either to the barn roof and watch the sunset, or I would walk to the back of our pasture and just walk back and forth and be in the back of the pasture and just connect. That it was my favorite thing to do. Um, and I remember that the next week I was supposed to go into high school, and I was sitting on the barn roof and I went, I'm not going to have time to do this now that I'm going into high school. And it hit me that what I was doing in that moment was the most important thing in my entire life. And I was so sad knowing that just life was going to demand I have to let that go to go be a teenager. I mean, I couldn't look at my family and be like, so I'm not going to high school because I found God and I just want to stay there. So peace out. This is how it's going to be. I didn't have that option. And I shouldn't have taken that option, everything in its own time and place. But that time gave me a place to remember. It kind of set my spiritual thermostat to, I know what that connection feels like. And so I could remember what it felt like to help me get back there when it was time. I lost it through high school. High school felt like a train wreck. Um, and it wasn't until my early to mid 20s that I started coming back around to it. I was not happy in my life. Um, and because I wasn't connected, I had lost that connection. I lost my practice of it. And so I started trying different spiritual groups. Catholicism didn't work for me anymore because I felt the falseness of the whole, you are a sinner and you need to be saved and you were just born wrong and there's nothing you can do about it. And I just went, I know that's not true. I can feel it in my heart. I mean, I have sat and been connected. I sat on the barn roof. I know what that feels like. I know there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. So I walked away from religion, and it was off and on that I started like dabbling and meditating and finding different groups and learning different ways of seeing things. I still had a hard time connecting though. And it was, I dabbled off and on. I got into energy healing. I became a nurse, and I had a friend from one of my groups that said, I learned this great modality. It's called quantum touch. And I'm just got certified to be a teacher, and I need to teach my first class. She goes, I need a friend in my first class. Can you please just come? And I said, yes. All right, I'll be there. I don't know what this is, but I'll be there. And she goes, great. I ended up being the only person in the class. So I got this like great one-on-one attention, and I learned quantum touch, and I couldn't feel energy really, but I kept plugging away at it off and on. And pretty soon I was like, I couldn't quite feel energy, but in desperation one day I had a patient. I recovered patients from anesthesia. They came out of surgery at a children's hospital, and I helped them wake up. Waking up out of anesthesia can be severely disorienting and terrifying, especially if you are a teenager or a child. I had this one teenage girl wake up, and she was so absolutely terrified. She was just shaking. She was just white and shaking. She was so scared. and nothing I could do or say was helping her. So I was holding her hand and I was charting, and I thought, I'm just going to try running energy and see what happens. And so I started doing the process of running energy. Like, I have faith that this is working. I can't feel it, but we'll just give it a shot. I, for the first time, felt like this charge come out of my heart, down through my hand, and down into this girl. And she fell asleep within seconds. She was out. And I just stood there in shock. I was like, that just happened. And from that moment on, I went, okay, this isn't just, something really is happening. I was so excited, but it just took my breath away. I was like, that was so tangible. That was a tangible, real thing. And it was the only thing that worked in that moment. So I really started practicing more and telling more people that I did it. I did not tell anyone in the hospital I did energy work. I was like, I am not saying a word, because I was afraid of the reaction. And I would do it quietly. I would do it very quietly, just like that. But that modality is so simple, I could do that. But what really, really kicked me off into doing this seriously, it was because of my marriage. So, romantic relationships have always been hard for me. And so I had to learn a lot. I usually hooked up with people that took advantage of me, that I allowed them to, that I would just give myself away and give them anything they needed or wanted, because so they wouldn't leave me. Like, that was my pattern. So I would give up myself and try to be anything they needed me to be so that they wouldn't leave. And that creates the opposite effect.
Right.
People, it pushes them away. So I discovered this, and I learned about, codependency and those unhealthy patterns. And I worked on myself. And in my early 30s, I met this gentleman who I thought, I have done it. I've done my work. I've done a good job. I have met somebody, and he has a job, and he has worked for the military, and he's trusted with all these very high-tech private things and working on, bank vaults and bank safes. I'm like, he's stable. We had so much fun together. And he was so committed, and he's like, yeah, let's do this. And I dated him for 5 years. We lived together for 3, and we finally got married in that 5th year. It was like 9 months after our marriage that, well, his company said, we need you to transfer. Are you willing? Will you move? And it required us to sell my house, to leave my job, and to just pick up and go. And they said, we're going to have you traveling around. So we thought, we don't want to buy a house every 2 years because they're going to be moving them around. Let's buy a 5th wheel trailer and a truck, and we'll just carry her home with us. It'll be this great adventure. I was so excited. And I got a phone call in the middle of the night, 9 months after we made that leap, that transfer. And it was from him. He had been on a job working through the night and doing this installation. And he said, I have been arrested. And I went, what? Like, my brain just couldn't, I couldn't have heard that clearly. You what?
Right.
He goes, I was arrested. And I said, what did you do? I'm like, for what? Like, this has to be a mistake. And he goes, well, it was soliciting a minor, but it's all a mistake. It's all a mistake. I just was floored. I was absolutely floored. And ended up going to pick him up the next day, uh, his bail was $30,000. So I had to get a bail bond and $3,000 to bail him out. And I'm like, this has to be a mistake. I don't know what's happened. This has to be a mistake. So go and pick him up and find out it wasn't a mistake. He had been soliciting minors and had an entire other life that I did not know about, that his family didn't know about. Like friends and friends and girlfriends and family over here that didn't know about his other family over here. It was insane. I'm really happy not to be a story on Dateline, honestly. Like I'm really overjoyed that I was not like physically damaged or something bad happened that way. But I was in shock. Like I could not believe this was happening. And I thought, I have good intuition. How did this happen? How did I not know?
Mhm.
How did I not know about this? And it took a lot of soul searching. Of course, I divorced him. I moved to a different state. I just went to start over. But that question kept going through my head. I was so angry. I was so angry at the universe. I was so angry at God. I was like, how could you let this happen? I was, tuning in and, I was praying about it. I thought it was good to go. I was so upset. And this went on for like a year as I was putting myself back together because I was absolutely gutted. Like there are no words to say how absolutely gutted I felt. It was like somebody smashed me into 1,000 pieces and threw me into a fire, and that's how I felt. In putting myself back together, I hear angels pretty good. And I was yelling at Archangel Michael one day because I had been triggered by something. I think was getting ready to like go out with friends and possibly meet somebody, socialize, and it triggered me. And I was so angry and so hurt about, being thrown back into these thoughts of my past marriage. And uh, I felt for the first time in my life an angel getting angry. Angels are such, especially Archangel Michael, like he is such a kick-ass person, but he's also such a mellow, gentle, loving presence and with a great sense of humor. And I felt him getting angry and upset. And it made me stop. I'm like, am I making this up? I said, are you upset with me? And he said, yes. And I'm like, why? And he said, because I cannot save you from yourself. And that made me pause and it made me rethink how I behaved in my marriage. And it made me realize I had blown past all of these red flags, all of these stop signs saying, pay attention. Like this guy's, got some issues or pay attention. And I had wanted what I wanted. And it does not matter how sharp someone's senses are or how good their intuition is if they don't listen to it. I didn't listen to myself. I had done the same damn thing I had done with other relationships. I just did it in a more sneaky way. I had put my own intuition and part of my own self on the back burner so that I could have this relationship and I could get married like I wanted to be. And it hit me like a ton of bricks that, yeah, this was all on me in a way. Not that he, it's not my fault he decided that he likes 13-year-old girls. It was my fault that I did not give myself the amount of compassion, love, and attention to my own intuition and my own inner knowing that I did to everybody else. And that was the moment that I feel like my soul stepped forward and went, all right, we got that over with. Now let's do what we're really supposed to be doing. And that's when I knew, I'm like, no, I'm supposed to be doing energy work. And I know I'm supposed to be, I'm supposed to be helping people get in touch with their angels and with their higher selves, and to use these gifts that we all have. That's the thing that has really come home to me, and is that everybody can do this. Everybody can learn energy healing. Everybody can hear their angels. Everybody can sense other people's energy. It is our birthright. We were born with it. It's not a matter of religion. It's not a matter of spirituality and what you believe. It's not a matter of worthiness or unworthiness. It's coming out with the ability and the sense to sense energy. It is an innate thing. That's what this really is. It's sensing the energy around you. Science is finally catching up with what mystics have known for a really long time, that we have an energy field. It's a tangible, measurable thing. Like, we have a magnetic field. We can send energy to each other. So had I not been kicked in the teeth, gutted, ground up, spit out, and totally just shattered by my marriage, I would not have come together and realized that I should be doing this. There's no other way to explain it. It was kind of a surreal experience. It was like literally being shattered and coming back together in a different configuration. And I just knew. I'm like, okay, now it's time. Let's go. Let's do this. This is happening. So that's the long version of that's how I got to be here. That's how
Wow.
I got to be on this path that I'm doing now. So I do energy healing, and I help people interpret their dreams. I've been doing that I've been interpreting my own dreams since I was 14. So, people have asked. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll help you with that. So I do that now too. And it's been interesting because that part of me that goes, I don't know enough, or yeah, I don't know that I know enough to do an energy practice like that yet, or I don't know, I do my own dreams, but hell, I don't know about doing anybody else's. I don't know. And it's been the universe. I call it the universe. That's what God feels like to me. It's God is in everything and everyone and connects everything. So it feels like the universe to me. It's just everything. Brings me people. And it's like, I think, oh, I can't do that. And all of a sudden I have 3 people asking me, oh, you do dreams. Geez, will you help me with mine? And I'm like, okay. And, or somebody's like, you do energy work. Really? Will you help me? Can you help me with this? And I'm like, okay. It's needed. And what do I want to say? I want to say that all that it really requires to step into our gifts and to be what what we are supposed to be and know, is just to be willing. To be willing and be open, and then see where that takes you. You don't have to know everything. We don't have to be perfect at what we do. We just have to be willing. Like I'm willing. I'm willing to help somebody with what I know. I know something. I don't know everything, but I know something, and I am willing to share that if it is needed. And that's all it takes. And then life starts bringing things forward. And that was kind of a rant and a tangent. So
Perfect. And these roller coaster rides, um, sometimes you're up and then it feels great and then it goes down and you feel awful and like throwing up. But that's when the realizations come to surface and then you go up again, right?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, literally that's life. And the way we discover ourselves, like it is like a progressive discovery, and it never ends, and it's just ongoing and ongoing. And the soul journey, I mean, itself, it never ends. We always have, it seems to me that we have always like infinite potential, that every time that a problem comes to surface, so then we always find a way. And i I came to the realization, with my own soul journey, that came to the realization that yes, the soul journey never ends. And because it never ends, we should be more patient with us, right? Like for
Yeah.
instance, you shared, oh, okay, how come that I didn't see these red flags? I thought that I got it, and now I have this, I married this person that is now showing me this other face, so that I didn't know about, why I didn't know. And then it comes this frustration, right? And then we can feel like a failure. Oh my goodness, I didn't see it. And then we blame ourselves, not knowing in the meantime that maybe we were meant to live that, so for us to go even higher. So that's what happened to you, right, with your
Yeah.
marriage and this person. And at the same time having compassion for this person that helped you basically propel your soul journey, your awakening. And now you are helping others, and you are, I mean, I find myself in wonder of the things that I have um, done, accomplished because of some challenge.
Yes.
And but I see other people, unfortunately, that it seems not to, like, stay stagnant or stuck,
Hmm.
right? And like,
Yes.
okay, you are learning this lesson, but you are not doing anything. And then you mentioned something like willing, right? Some
Yeah.
people are not willing, and some people are like, oh no, this sounds very like woo woo, I'm not gonna go there, or no, it's just a coincidence. And there's blockages in our minds and that we cannot see, and so then we are not willing, and we are staying in the victimhood stage, and some people never get out of there, right?
Yeah.
So it, and that's, I mean, now with all this information that we have available, there are so many biases that we all have, that we all share our own biases, right?
Yeah.
And so, but it is at the end of the day on us to do our research and say, okay, what am I willing to do for myself? And what are the resources, right, that I have available to be able to overcome the challenge or to fix the problem?
Yeah.
And so, thank you for sharing that. So you continue helping children, right? You said at the hospital, or you?
I worked at a children's hospital for 10 years in
Oh,
Utah. Now I'm a nurse. I'm still in nursing. But I do home health now, and I don't do children anymore. It was time for a change. So I work with adults now. But I help children if they come across for energy work, and I definitely send energy and love to my nieces and nephews using energy work.
Would
Um,
you say that kids are more receptive to the energy that you send them? That
yes.
they
Now,
like that they can heal faster, or I don't know how to call that.
yeah, they are just open to it,
Mm,
especially in this day and age. I think that that the younger they are, the more accepting that they are, of course. But souls coming into the world right now are very different than when I came into the world. They're a lot more open to energy and I think possibilities. Um, like with technology, it's really expanded how what our what the material world can do to match what our imagination comes up with.
mm,
Um, it's a lot more magical time than when I was a kid. For example, I remember reading J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings when I was a teenager and going, oh my gosh, if they made a movie about this, I would be there. This would be the best movie ever, and they should do it. And, it took 20 years, but it's there. It came about. The material world was able to create what my imagination had envisioned. And I we keep getting closer to that. So I think these kids coming in have a more flexible mind and they know how to use technology. It seems like coming out of the womb. When a 2-year-old is unlocking my phone,
right.
I'm like, wow, that's just how did you know to do that? Um, but yes, you're right. Children are more receptive, and quantum touch is so simple. I know children can do it. I mean, one of my great mentors, one of my teachers, she taught all her grandchildren how to run energy. Like they know how to zip up their auras and run energy, and they're little kids. I mean, this is not moving energy is not rocket science, and it doesn't have to be difficult, and you don't have to know a bunch of stuff. It's basically an awareness and a willingness and knowing how to breathe. Nothing moves energy like breathing, and we all have to breathe. So whether we realize it or not, when we
Right.
breathe, we move energy. Everybody's an energy
It's there.
worker.
We have access to there, and we have the power to move that energy with the power of our willingness or our intention, the power of our intention, which is, I call it the power of our intention is everything, basically.
Yes, you're right. It is everything. Intention and breath really are everything. If you can breathe, you can move energy, period. That's all there is to
Yes.
it. Anyone can learn it. It's just, that's the thing I would really like people to understand. And I wish that they could understand how absolutely precious they are. And that they are all connected. We are all connected by this energy. We all breathe. We all are aware of each other. We just do not consciously know it or acknowledge it. It's not until we stop and go, wait a second, um, and listen to that inner voice, that small inner voice, that the quiet nudge. That's how
Mhm.
spirit feels to me. Um, that it just is really paying attention to that. It's slowing down and paying attention. That is, and being willing. That's it. There's no magic formula. That's the formula right there.
Exactly. No magic formula. Beautiful said. So what comes to mind is a few weeks back, I was scrolling through Instagram
Uh-huh.
and I found this person, I cannot recall his name. And he was explaining something about, oh, he was basically talking about the power of our intention, but with other words. And he was talking about, okay, I am driving my car and I imagine that I am covered by this bubble of golden light. And he said, that is my protection when I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was saying you should do the same and just right, just.
Mhm.
say it. And so, and I was like, wow, okay, so my training, I had a download of what we called light wall, which is
Mhm.
the same thing basically. So, and I was like, okay, well, that's what I've been doing as well. I'm driving and I don't enjoy driving. Like if I could have a chauffeur, a driver, like I would definitely. But I'm not afraid. Like I'm just like I can get stressed at times, especially on the freeway, because I don't like speed. I hate it. So anyway, so what I do is okay, near my light wall, turn on and extend to the size of my car, around my car. And then I do imagine that I'm driving and my car is in a bubble of golden light and I feel protected and I know it's there, right? And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, yeah, again, the power of our intention.
Yes.
So, and it's not because I had this training, right? I mean, I had my training, I received this download from a Tao master,
Yeah.
but anybody has the right to turn on that protection of golden light around you and just it's the power of your words, your intention, and so it is. So people don't need to have any download from anybody to do this basically. Anybody has it already.
Yes. It's just an awareness. I mean, nobody pulled me to the side in kindergarten and said, okay, so we know you pick up on other people's emotions and stuff and energy. So we're going to teach you about the golden bubble. Before you leave the house every day, you take 3 deep breaths and you imagine this beautiful golden bubble around you. And then you go out into the world, and this bubble helps you, keep your energy to yourself and not pick up on so much. And, that's all it
Mm,
takes is like,
exactly.
well, here you go. But like, this is the difference now. Like, more people are being aware of this, but my mom didn't know that. Like, nobody in my family understood
Mhm.
that. Like, they didn't know I picked up on other people's emotions. They just, knew I was a sensitive kid. And um, so there was no learning. They're just not prepared. There was no awareness. I
Right.
think that's the biggest thing is just I would love people again to be aware of how absolutely precious they are and that they are just as gifted as I am. If I can do it, they can do it.
Yeah. Yes, I just recently had an aha moment of the I am enough. I mean, it took me a lot of time. I've been working with Tao practices for 10 years, and but still, like I had resistance, I had these blockages. And until, I mean, the beginning of this year, I had this aha moment like, hey, you are enough. And I was like, why does it take so much time? Right? And again, it's easier said than done, right? But the more you do the work, the more you sit, even just 5 minutes a day, and try to listen to yourself. It's like checking in how I feel, how am I doing? Um, that's huge. And this awareness, so now what happens is I am more confident in everything that I do, how I present myself. And I know still a lot of growth is coming as well, right? But I never gave myself credit for anything before. And that's another part of not feeling enough, right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I'm like, I'm giving credit myself today because I accomplished this little thing, this little task. I give credit to myself and I thank God, the universe, Tao, for this moment. So yeah. And you mentioned something like the the archangels can get mad at you. That was so funny. Uh experience, right? Like, oh my
Yes.
God. Okay. And, but you said something really key. He told you, I cannot save you from yourself. And so that brings me to this, that okay, I cannot save you, like I cannot make you understand that you are enough, right? Or
Yes.
whatever the situation is, I cannot save you from yourself.
Yes.
But just that phrase, I cannot save you from yourself, is you had the aha moment at the same time, made you think, and it's like, oh crap, yes, nobody can save me. I am the only one. I am the hero of my own movie. I am the protagonist. I am the main character.
Yes.
And that's beautiful and scary at the same time. And there's like a lot of mixed feelings, right? That sometimes like,
Yes.
it's so much, oh my goodness, what do I do? And but for anyone listening, there are people out there that are always willing to help you. I mean, not only angels, archangels, or God, but people out there, and all that you have to do is willing to expand yourself, to open your mind, and be willing to explore new things. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. Explore, have fun, and
Yeah.
everything in between. I mean, human suffering is a reality. It's going to be there, right? There will be very sad moments at times, and but there will be happy moments and
Yeah.
everything else. So, yeah.
Yeah. I I what you said about I did not acknowledge my successes. And uh, I have been through that, have done the same thing, and watched other people do that. And imposter syndrome, that they talk about imposter syndrome, that, it's that's one of those buzzwords out there. I
Mhm.
don't feel like I
Right.
should be doing this. I feel like I'm a poser or a fake, even though I'm incredibly successful. That feeling of imposter syndrome. I learned that one of the key things that happens with imposter syndrome is that we don't internalize our successes. We'll remember the mistake we made in eighth grade, but we won't, remember all the successes we had at that time. We take ourselves for granted. We don't give ourselves the credit we're due. We praise everyone up and down for their successes, but our successes, we go, yeah, I was supposed to do that. Well, of course, that was, I was supposed to do that. Now chop chop, get on to the next thing. It's like, no, look what you just did. I just passed, the nursing board. Holy crap. I remember that. I was like, good, I got it done. And I was like, I look back now and go, holy crap, like you did it. Like that was huge. But it's giving ourselves a pat on the back. Like I got up today. I am already ahead of the game. I'm giving myself a pat on the back because I got up to face the world today.
Right.
Um, we, sh- we should give ourselves a lot more credit. And we don't understand how awesome we are, and how, again, precious we are. That word keeps coming up, how absolutely precious we are. And that we deserve the best that life can offer, simply because we got up today and we're breathing and we're people. Um, if we all took the time, I believe, to sit with ourselves and get right with ourselves and acknowledge that we are good, that we are deserving, and that we are worthy, and that we can be at peace with who we are as we are. If we all did that, then we would have nothing to fight about. There would be so much more peace in the world. Everybody right now, there's so much going on in the world that is crazy, and that we feel like we have absolutely no control over. And it's so disheartening, and it can make us feel helpless and like throw up our hands and be like, well, I don't know what to do. There's nothing I can do. It all starts inside. If you want to help the world, if you want there to be more peace, sit down and get right with yourself and feel peace, because it will radiate out into the world. If you are concerned about the environment, sit down and get right with yourself and get your internal environment calm and peaceful. Uh, Look at the parts of yourself that aren't pretty, that you think are ugly, and love them and learn to accept them just as they are, and have compassion for ourselves. That's where changing things starts. And the trap of watching the news and uh, always looking outside ourselves for what we should think and what is going on, is the trap. That trying to go outside ourselves all the time to fix it is the trap. It's going within, to go inside ourselves and start there. And then it just naturally starts to flow out into the world. That's the great thing about energy. We affect each other.
Mm.
Have you ever had someone come into a room that you just loved them? They walked into the room and it was like, God, I'm so glad they're here. You know, they haven't even said a word. They just walk in and you're like, oh, finally, this is great. I'm so happy they're here. That is because they were right with themselves and their own energy and how they feel about themselves. And they didn't even have to say anything. They just walked into the room. That's energy.
Yeah.
We are all connected and affected by each other. So if you want the world to be a better place, if you want to help the environment, if you want to feed the world and have there be world peace, and get right with ourselves, get right with yourself. And then you walk out into the world and you can walk through the grocery store and change people. You can drive down the freeway and change people in rush hour traffic. Like, this is where it really begins. This is where it is. This is where the power is. It's inside. It's changing how we think about ourselves. And you were saying the not enough thing. That, you know, that why has it been so hard that to get this, the I am enough? And it's because we're taught to look outside ourselves. And one of the things that a lot of the messages in the world coming through are, you are not enough. You don't have enough. There's not enough going around. There's not enough money. There's not enough, oh, you know, there's not enough air. There's not enough trees. There's not enough water. There's not enough. There's not enough. There's not enough. You don't have enough. You're not enough. You don't look like this. You don't have this. To look like this and to have this, you might be enough, but then there's always something else. The messages coming through are always, it's not enough. So that's why it takes so much to just sit and be centered. Actually, I shouldn't say that it takes so much. It's the belief that this simple thing of sitting with yourself and being centered can affect so much change. It seems like
The moment we recognize ourselves as enough is the moment our life changes. Why? This brings to mind when I was I made the decision to find a true love partner. It was a decision, number one. Number two, I truly believed whoever, whoever gains my love, or whoever is with me as a partner, he will have a blast. He will be he will be so lucky. He will be, yeah, in the clouds, basically. Like, I truly believe whoever wants to be with me, he is going to be a lucky guy. And that realization, I mean, not because I thought I was like I look like a superstar or like I believe that was very pretty. No, but I went inside what I have to give and the love I have to give. Whoever wants it is going to be very lucky. And then the whole thing, it was a game changer. 6 months after that, I found my now husband.
Wow.
And so then, me, of course, without telling him all these things that I was thinking, he tells me now every day that he is the luckiest guy in the world. So it is truly, and that goes for all aspects of life, right? Like, okay, am I deserving of an amazing job? What do I deserve? How much money I want to make? How much money do I deserve? And yeah, that's another whole blockage that a lot of us still have, right?
Yes.
So yeah, but I I always have to remind myself, okay, Valkyrie, if you were able to transform your life, your love life, you can transform the other ones as well, right?
Yes. Amen to that. Yes.
So yeah, it is a constant working on ourselves.
Yes.
And so can you explain what exactly is what you do? Do you have a protocol to use your clients? You mentioned that you do uh, quantum healing.
It's called quantum touch.
Mhm.
It's a modality that was started by a gentleman named Richard Gordon. Um, and what I really, really like about it is it is simple. It is powerful, but it is simple. Again, my one of my teachers taught all her grandkids how to do it. They can all run energy. It's not hard. It's just again being willing and learning how to breathe and understand how the energy flows and being willing to do those exercises. Like that's it. That's
Mm.
all there is to this. You could anyone could buy his book, um, Quantum Touch, and make sure it's the first one if you buy it. The first there's a series.
Edition.
Yeah, the first one. It is simple. It is easy to read, and you can go on from there. If you want to do classes, you can, but it is simple. And when I say be willing, that sometimes can be the hardest thing in the world because I had to be willing to keep trying, even though I'm like, I don't feel the energy. I'm doing the breathing. I can't feel it, but I'm just going to keep trying. I'm willing to keep trying. I'm willing until the day I'm like, holy crap, I felt that. Wow, that was something. But yeah, I enjoy Quantum Touch. It's super simple, super easy. And one of the things that I really appreciate about it is that it has brought forward other gifts in me. It started with Quantum Touch, and I was working on someone one day, and I looked up, and there were more hands touching this person than my hands, but I was the only person in the room. And I went, wait a second, what is going on? And I knew that this was this person's spirit guide, and that's how that started. So spirit guides started coming in, and then people's deceased relatives started coming in sometimes. And now, an energy session, I get messages for people and I give them to them at the end. But it allowed other things in me to blossom and come forward.
Right. Wow, that's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it is
Yes.
an adventure every time.
I bet. Yeah. And I guess, I mean, just in my experience, we will never step from or being in awe. Like sometimes I was like, in the beginning of my journey, I thought, okay, wait a minute. This is not something that I would like make up. Like, there's no way that I will be able to make this up. So that means it's real. Because sometimes, in my experience, so what happens is like a disconnection of my brain, which is kind of weird. I mean, maybe it doesn't sound right, but that's how I feel. Like, that's when I know that the channeling or what I'm seeing with my third eye is true, because I do feel like the brain says, okay, I'm I'm stepping out for a little bit so you can receive this information, right?
Uh-huh.
Kind of. So yeah, I'm always, every time, just grateful. I mean, and this is like you said, anybody can do this just by willing and
Yes.
really taking the time. It's a process, right? And being um, patient with ourselves is, if we really want to do this job and assist others. As I always say, yeah, we are all healers. The difference of that I call myself healer is not because I mean, I am a healer because I decided to dedicate a big part of my life to assisting others in their healing process. That's
Yeah.
all. Just like an engineer, which is my day job. Okay, I decided to be an engineer. Anybody can be an engineer as well. Everybody has their faculties, capabilities to become an engineer, but I decided to be an engineer. So as well, same with healers. Everybody is a healer. You guys have the capability to become a healer as well. It's just
Yeah.
right. That makes sense. So wow. So so you use the protocol of this, how do you call it, master, or he is
He's a quantum touch practitioner. He doesn't call himself a master.
mhm.
He's just
So he came up with this protocol, or
yes,
this his, okay.
yes, he did.
I
Yep.
see. Okay. Awesome. And do you, I want to go a little bit into a lot of healers, I mean, out of their good heart and willingness to assist others, help others, they just throw themselves into trying to help certain people that maybe they shouldn't be helping, because they need the help of a professional psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatnot. So I want to go a little bit into that, because it's very important that the healers, we make an assessment in the very beginning when somebody comes to us seeking for help,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
are you under any medication? Okay, and really look more into the background of the person, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I always do that and make sure, and as well I check with guidance if it is appropriate for me. And oftentimes they say, no, you are not qualified to help this person or direct this person to somebody else, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so then I invite everyone to do that. That is in this healing practices and whatnot. So, what is your experience about this? I mean, given that you are a healthcare professional already.
Yes. Yeah, that is an excellent point. Um, yeah, energy healing does not replace like Western medicine. It is a great complement. Actually, I think where like Western medicine and then the more energetic medicines of the world meet is where magic happens. If someone breaks their arm, I can run energy on it, but they need to go have it the bone put back into place and set. And then the energy work will help it heal faster. But, the energy is not setting the bone. And with mental health issues, again, energy work can help, but it is not a replacement. And I do the same thing that you do. I tune in and go, is this for this person's highest good? But energy work has the potential, and what usually happens is people come out very relaxed. They come out very relaxed. They feel very safe. Um, but I had an instance where I didn't know this person had flashbacks. Like that was not something I knew to ask. And one of the main things of energy work is it helps us release trauma from our bodies and trapped emotions. One of the ways that traumatic experiences can be processed by the brain are through flashbacks. That is like one of the brain's ways of trying to like reconcile the experience or figure it out, as it keeps flashing back to it. While I was working on this woman, she started having flashbacks because her body was trying to release the trauma and her brain was going into that cycle. And it scared her. So that is a question I asked now, do you have flashbacks?
Mm.
But it's one of those things that, yeah, I'm not equipped to help people with flashbacks. That is not within the scope of my practice. Um, I'm willing to work with them with another healthcare professional, but it is a great addition. It does not qualify for replacement of any of those things. And I absolutely love healthcare professionals, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to see counselors and therapists and not have a stigma on it. I always tell people going to see a counselor, it doesn't mean you're crazy, it doesn't mean you're broken. It
Mhm.
means you need a new skill set. Life did not teach me how, when I was growing up, my mom didn't sit me down and go, this is what you do if you have a cheating husband that likes to go after teenage girls. Like that was not covered when I was growing up. I needed a new skill set. I needed a new skill set to deal with that situation. So I went to a therapist, I went to a counselor. Um, I think when people get married or have kids, like when you have a kid, you go to you get a pediatrician. You make sure you have one. I think that if you get a pediatrician, you should also get a counselor. Like that should just be part of the deal because you're going to need it. Nobody teaches you how to raise a kid, your kids. It's something we all, try to figure out. Um, but yeah, I like how you said that it is not a replacement at all, ever. And
Mm.
in fact, there are certain circumstances that, I will not work on someone unless their therapist is present and I will go to them. Um, and flashbacks are one of those things. But yes, thank you for bringing that up. You're
Yeah.
totally 110% correct.
Awesome. Thank you, yes, for sharing. Because, I mean, the needs of every individual are different, even though the situation might be very similar. A lot of things might not apply to everyone, right?
Yes.
So we really need to be very careful because instead of helping, we might be misguiding them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, we do connect with the soul world or whatever you call it, but yeah, we live in this 3D world, so we ought to take care of that part too.
Yes.
So so that
Yep.
everything has to be in alignment, soul, heart, mind, and body, physicality. Don't
Yeah.
forget that part.
Yes. Yeah.
We sometimes want to like, okay, no, the physical, no, it's there. Yeah. So yeah, that's why medicine do work and as complement is great. So yeah, of course, we know people that doing certain spiritual practices are able at the end to leave the medications they were on in the beginning of the practice, right? But yes, they were taking the medicine still, and little by little, yeah, it doesn't happen for everyone, but there are some cases or miracles, whatever you want to call it, that yes, it does happen. So, yeah.
And
So,
even coming off medicines like that, you do it under the guide of your healthcare professional. Even if you're like, I'm doing this meditation practice, I feel like I'm doing better. I want to try going off this medication. You don't just do it. You get a hold of your doctor and you say, look, this is what I want to do. What do we need to do? You don't just jump on and off medications like that. It's like some of those need to be weaned down, especially if they're mental health medications. So it is a loving thing for ourselves to make sure that we are checking in with all aspects of our care before we change anything, before we jump and try something so different.
something new, yes,
Yeah,
definitely. Angela, what is next for you in your love life?
that is a very good question. I am enjoying dating and being my authentic self with people. That's what's going on in my love life. And my love life has become a spiritual practice or a mindfulness practice for me because I go into every relationship now, whether it be a first date or even making a new friend, and setting the intention that no matter what happens, I am going to be authentically myself. I am going to be myself in every single way. And if that does not resonate with that person, then I will let it go. They're not supposed to be in my sphere.
Mhm.
Um, but when it does resonate, I know that those are authentic friendships. I know that those are real. So right now, I'm just actually having a lot of fun.
Yay.
I'm enjoying my life right now. Um, and just enjoying meeting people and having a good time. And I may be married again one day. I may not. I'm not too attached to that outcome. Um, I'm really enjoying just being me and having fun with that. And this is the other thing about being authentic. All of a sudden, there are things about myself I did not realize or that come up, and I'm like, this is pretty awesome. I didn't know. I didn't know that, I like to go hiking at this time of day, or I didn't know I would like, being in this environment with this person, or I didn't know I'd like to go dancing in this place. It brings out new things in me. It brings,
Self-discovery. Yeah.
yeah, self-discovery. That's exactly it. If I'm not being authentic, I spent so much time trying to be what other people needed that I didn't know what I needed and I didn't know what I wanted. And there
Right.
are depths to me that come up and I'm like, geez, I didn't know I could move that way. Or it's just fun. It's fun. Going out with somebody else and being authentic is a fun discovery for me as well.
Mhm.
It's been,
Awesome.
yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to that shitty marriage or crappy marriage, excuse me. I'm grateful.
Yes. Awesome. And what about what is next for you in your healing business? So you are doing the quantum touch healing and the dream interpretation, right? Because you
Yes.
have a circle, which I have attended to, and it's awesome.
Thank you. I am putting together a dream class, a dream interpretation class. It will be like Dream Interpretation 101. And that is going to be on, let me remember the date. Oh my goodness. How can I not remember the date? That will be on March 2nd,
Okay.
at Tina Escoto's home. Look up Mystic Horse Journeys.
Mm-hmm.
She is in Cave Creek. I will be doing more dream interpretation classes around the Phoenix area. I am also doing mediumship. So, mediumship and spirit guide readings outside of healings.
Okay.
So,
So
and
that
that,
those are private consultations, the
yes,
mediumship. Okay.
yes,
Awesome.
that's where that's headed. Mediumship has come up. So, I'm excited. I love it. It's the best job in the whole world. I have the best job in the whole world. I love being a go-between between the spirit world and this world. Um, this is the thing. They call it the spirit world, and that makes it sound so hokey and so far away, and it's
Mm.
not. They're right here. It's all energy. Like they are right here. They're not out there, they're not over there, they're right here. Um, and I love helping people understand and realize that, and that this is not just all there is.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts, your awesomeness, your beautiful heart. I am so lucky to call you my friend, and I am just thrilled. Thank you so much for your time, Angela. I love you, honor you, and appreciate you. Thank you for being on this episode.
Thank you so much, Valkyrie. This was so much fun. I thank you so much. I love you very much. Thank you for being such a good friend, and you make this possible. You're just so easy to talk to. You're absolutely delightful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for
I'll
doing
take
this.
that. Thank you. I
This
am
was
enough. I
fun.
am enough. So, okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and have a great one. See you next time.